Your soulmate secretly met someone close to you. Here's what they talked about: sparkles. My beloved child, don't skip, stay till the end, because something huge is waiting. Your soulmate recently had a conversation they never expected to have. And the person sitting across from them was not a stranger. It was someone surprisingly close to you, someone who knows more about your heart, your personality, and the way you love than your soulmate realized. At first, the conversation seemed completely ordinary. A few simple words. A familiar name. Then your name entered the conversation, and everything shifted. Your soulmate became unusually quiet because they heard something about you that touched a place inside them they had been trying to ignore. Don't skip, because what was said next may explain why their energy toward you has felt different lately. The person close to you did not reveal some dramatic secret. Instead, they said something far more powerful. They described the version of you that people rarely notice. The way you stay strong when nobody sees the effort. The way you remember little details about people. The way you can care deeply without constantly asking for recognition. Your soulmate listened carefully, and suddenly memories started connecting in their mind. Moments with you that once seemed small began looking completely different. Something huge is waiting for you, because this was only the beginning of that conversation. But then came the sentence your soulmate was not prepared to hear. The person close to you looked at them and explained that you are not someone who gives your heart casually. When you genuinely care, it comes from a place most people never reach. And hearing that changed the atmosphere instantly. Stay till the end, because your soulmate's response revealed more than they intended. They asked a question about you, one that showed they had already been thinking about you far more deeply than anyone knew. They wanted to know whether you had ever spoken about them differently from everyone else. There was a pause before the answer came, and during that pause your soulmate realized something enormous. They were hoping the answer would be yes. That realization surprised even them. Don't skip. The person close to you noticed it too. They could see it in the way your soulmate suddenly became more attentive, more curious, almost as if every word mattered. Then they shared one small detail about you, something connected to the way you behave when someone truly matters to you. Your soulmate immediately remembered a moment between you both, and for the first time, they understood what that moment may actually have meant. What they had dismissed as coincidence suddenly felt personal. And this is where the conversation became unforgettable. Your soulmate finally admitted something they had apparently kept private for longer than expected. There is something about you they have never been able to completely shake from their thoughts. They tried to explain it logically, but every explanation brought them back to the same truth: you affect them differently. Something about your presence stays with them after the moment is over. Something about your words returns when they are alone. And something about the connection feels unfinished, as though an important chapter has not yet been written. Stay till the end, because the biggest revelation from this meeting has not even surfaced yet. Before the conversation ended, the person close to you said one final thing that made your soulmate stop completely. It was not a prediction. It was not a promise. It was an observation about you. Something your soulmate had secretly noticed too but had never heard another person confirm. And once those words were spoken, they could no longer pretend the connection was ordinary. Don't skip, because what your soulmate said immediately after hearing that may be the real reason this secret meeting happened at exactly this moment, and something huge is waiting for you. Something shifted the moment those final words were spoken. Your soulmate looked at the person close to you and asked a question that completely changed the direction of the conversation. Do you think they ever felt it too? That question revealed what they had been hiding beneath all their silence. They were not simply curious about you, they were trying to understand whether the connection they felt had ever reached your heart in the same way. Don't skip, because the answer they received was not what they expected. The person close to you didn't immediately say yes or no. Instead, they reminded your soulmate of certain moments when your energy changed around them, when your attention became softer, and when even your silence seemed to carry something deeper. Suddenly, your soulmate began replaying those moments differently. A look they once overlooked. A conversation they remembered long after it ended. A moment when you seemed ready to say something but held it back. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and this conversation was about to uncover why your soulmate has been unable to fully move past you. Then came an even more surprising confession. Your soulmate admitted that they had compared other connections to what they experienced with you, and something always seemed missing. It wasn't about perfection. It was about the feeling they could not recreate anywhere else. Your presence had left a signature on their memory, and now someone close to you was confirming that perhaps those meaningful moments had never been one-sided. Don't skip, because your soulmate then revealed the one thing they had secretly wished they could ask you directly. They wanted to know whether there was still a place for them in your thoughts, even after everything that had remained unspoken. For a few seconds, the person close to you said nothing. That silence made your soulmate nervous because suddenly this was no longer casual curiosity. They genuinely cared about the answer. And when the response finally came, it wasn't a simple confirmation. It was something much deeper. Some connections don't disappear just because people stop talking about them. Your soulmate froze because those words matched exactly what they had been feeling. But the most powerful moment came just before they separated. Your soulmate quietly admitted that if another genuine opportunity appeared between you both, they would not want to treat it casually again. They had learned something through distance, silence, and all those unanswered thoughts. Certain people enter your life and become impossible to place in an ordinary category. And somehow, you had become that person for them. Stay till the end, because the conversation still contained one detail they were hesitant to reveal. A detail connected to something your soulmate may be preparing to do next. Don't skip. The person close to you asked whether they were finally ready to stop hiding behind uncertainty, and your soulmate gave an answer that changed everything. They said they were tired of wondering what could happen if they were simply honest. Then came a final question: so what are you going to do now? Your soulmate paused, smiled in a way that revealed more than words could, and gave an answer nobody in that room expected. Something huge is waiting for you, because what they said next could explain exactly why you may soon notice a completely different energy coming from them. What happened next was the moment everything became impossible to dismiss. Your soulmate lowered their voice and said, "I think I already know what I need to do." But they didn't explain immediately. There was a strange pause, as if they were deciding how much of their real feelings they were finally ready to reveal. Don't skip, because this is where that secret conversation moved beyond memories and into something much more meaningful. Your soulmate admitted that they had been holding themselves back, waiting for the perfect sign, the perfect moment, the perfect certainty, but hearing someone close to you describe your heart made them question all of that hesitation. They suddenly understood that some connections cannot be understood by endlessly analyzing them. Sometimes the answer is hidden in what keeps returning to your mind no matter how much time passes. And you kept returning. Your words. Your expressions. Tiny moments you probably thought they had forgotten. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate then revealed that there was one particular memory involving you that they had never told anyone about, and that memory was the reason they could never completely convince themselves that what existed between you was ordinary. Here is where the conversation became even more surprising. Your soulmate described a moment when you looked at them differently, only for a few seconds, but somehow that moment stayed with them. They remembered your exact expression. They remembered the feeling in the room. Most importantly, they remembered what happened immediately afterward. Both of you acted as though nothing unusual had happened. But your soulmate had never forgotten it. Don't skip, because the person close to you responded with something that left them completely silent. They said, "Maybe you weren't the only one who remembered." Those words changed everything. Suddenly, your soulmate wanted to know more, but the person close to you refused to reveal every detail. Instead, they said that if your soulmate truly wanted answers, eventually those answers needed to come from you. And strangely, that made your soulmate smile. Not because everything had become certain, but because for the first time, uncertainty no longer seemed powerful enough to keep them frozen. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because they then admitted that they had already imagined what they would say if they finally had an honest conversation with you. And those imagined words were nothing like the person close to you expected. Your soulmate didn't want some perfect speech. They didn't want to pretend the past had been simple. They wanted to tell you that despite everything left unsaid, you had remained meaningful to them in a way they could never fully explain. They wanted to ask what you truly felt during those moments neither of you discussed. But there was one question above all the others that they desperately wanted answered. Was there ever a moment when you almost told me how you felt? Don't skip, because after hearing that question, the person close to you gave your soulmate one final clue. They reminded them of something you once did, something incredibly small that your soulmate had noticed but never understood. The second they heard it, their entire expression changed. Suddenly, one forgotten piece connected with another, and the story inside their mind began forming a completely different picture. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate left that meeting carrying one thought stronger than all the others: maybe they had misunderstood your silence all along. And before walking away, they said one sentence that could become the turning point of this entire story. If I get the chance to speak to them again, I'm not leaving the important words unsaid. But the story did not end when your soulmate walked away from that meeting. In fact, that was when the real emotional shift began. They carried those words with them, replaying the conversation again and again, especially one thought they could no longer silence: what if they had misunderstood you from the beginning? Don't skip, because this realization forced them to revisit moments they once considered insignificant. Your soulmate remembered times when you stayed a little longer than necessary, moments when your expression seemed to say more than your words, and conversations that ended before either of you said what truly mattered. Suddenly, those memories were no longer separate pieces. They were connecting. And the person close to you had unknowingly given your soulmate the missing perspective they needed. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate began wondering whether the distance between you was created not because the connection lacked meaning, but because both of you were waiting for the other person to become certain first. That possibility hit them deeply. For the first time, they stopped asking, "Why didn't they say anything?" and started asking, "Why didn't I?" Then another thought entered their mind, and this one changed everything. What if the opportunity they had been waiting for was never supposed to arrive perfectly? What if they had to create it themselves? Don't skip. Your soulmate started thinking about how they could approach you without pretending, without rehearsing some flawless moment, and without hiding behind casual conversation. They wanted something simple but genuine. They wanted to look at you and finally understand whether that familiar energy would still appear between you. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you, and the next detail is what made the person close to you realize your soulmate was becoming serious. Your soulmate asked one unexpected question before leaving: "If I reached out, would they understand why?" Notice what they did not ask. They didn't ask whether you would instantly give them the answer they wanted. They didn't ask whether everything would suddenly become perfect. They simply wanted to know whether you would recognize the meaning behind their effort. That question revealed something important. Their focus had shifted from wondering about the past to considering what could happen next. And now comes the detail that makes this entire secret meeting impossible to forget. Just before the conversation completely ended, the person close to you told your soulmate, "If you speak to them, speak from the part of you that has been quiet all this time." Your soulmate didn't answer immediately. They simply looked away for a moment, almost as though those words had reached exactly where they needed to reach. Don't skip, because their response afterward was incredibly revealing. They said, "Then I already know what I want to say." Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because whatever they had been holding inside was no longer just a passing thought. They had finally put words around it. And somewhere inside that private conversation, your soulmate made a decision that the person close to you never expected them to make. The next chapter would not be built around guessing. It would be built around clarity. But there is still one missing piece: the exact truth your soulmate wants you to hear first. And when that truth finally comes forward, it could completely change the meaning of every silent moment that came before. Now comes the truth your soulmate had been trying to put into words, and this is where the entire conversation takes a completely different meaning. After leaving that meeting, one sentence kept repeating inside their mind: "If you speak to them, speak from the part of you that has been quiet all this time." Don't skip, because your soulmate finally understood what that meant. They had spent so much time protecting themselves from uncertainty that they never stopped to consider what their silence might have looked like from your side. Maybe you thought they didn't notice. Maybe you thought certain moments meant nothing to them. Maybe you assumed they had simply moved forward without carrying any of it. But the surprising truth was almost the opposite. They remembered far more than they ever showed. They remembered conversations that seemed ordinary on the surface but somehow stayed with them afterward. They remembered the smallest changes in your expression. They remembered moments when both of you could have said something deeper but chose safer words instead. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate was beginning to realize that the connection had not disappeared from their mind. It had simply remained unfinished. Then something even more unexpected happened. Instead of thinking about what they wanted from you, your soulmate started thinking about what they wanted you to finally know about them. Don't skip, because this was the emotional breakthrough nobody expected from that secret meeting. They wanted you to know that their hesitation was never proof that you were unimportant. They wanted you to understand that sometimes the strongest feelings are also the hardest ones to explain clearly. Most of all, they wanted you to know that there were moments when they almost opened up completely, and stopped themselves at the final second. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The person close to you had unknowingly awakened a question your soulmate could no longer avoid. What if we both walked away from something meaningful simply because neither of us knew what the other person was thinking? That question stayed with them. And suddenly, all those unfinished moments felt different. Not like endings, but like sentences that had stopped before the final words were spoken. And this is where the biggest revelation begins. Your soulmate is no longer thinking only about what happened between you. They are thinking about what an honest conversation could finally uncover. Don't skip, because there is one specific thing they want to say first, and it is not what anyone expected. They don't want to begin by asking you for anything. They want to begin by acknowledging what they never acknowledged before, that your presence mattered, that certain memories stayed, and that pretending everything was ordinary never completely worked. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. The secret meeting with someone close to you did not give your soulmate every answer. It gave them something more powerful, the courage to question the story they had been telling themselves. And now one final mystery remains. Before that meeting ended, your soulmate mentioned a specific moment involving you that they still wish they could return to, not to change everything, but to say one sentence they should have said then. That sentence has remained inside them all this time. And once you hear what those words were supposed to be, you may finally understand why your soulmate could never completely forget what happened between you. Here is the sentence your soulmate wished they had said in that unforgettable moment. I don't know where this connection is going, but I know you matter to me more than I've been showing. Don't skip, because even admitting those words privately changed something inside them. For so long, they had treated their feelings like a question that needed a perfect answer before they could acknowledge it. But after meeting someone close to you, they realized the answer may have been hidden in their own behavior all along. Why did they remember tiny details about you? Why did certain conversations replay in their mind long after they ended? Why could one memory of your expressions suddenly bring back an entire emotional atmosphere? Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate finally recognized that people do not usually carry ordinary connections this deeply. And the most surprising part was not that someone close to you convinced them of anything. It was that this person simply said enough to make your soulmate admit what they had already known somewhere inside themselves. What happened afterward was even more revealing. Your soulmate began mentally preparing for the possibility of seeing or speaking with you again, but this time they imagined behaving differently. Don't skip, because their biggest change was not about saying something dramatic. It was about no longer hiding behind mixed signals and unfinished sentences. They imagined asking how you truly felt during those moments that neither of you ever explained. They imagined listening without assuming they already knew your answer. And then they imagined finally telling you why they had remained quiet. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because there was one detail your soulmate admitted to the person close to you that they had apparently never said aloud before. There had been a moment when they nearly told you everything. They were incredibly close. The words were there. The opportunity was there. But something made them hesitate, and the moment passed. Ever since then, they had occasionally wondered how different everything might have been if they had spoken just a few seconds sooner. But there is still one final layer to this secret conversation, and it may be the most surprising one yet. Before your soulmate left, they asked the person close to you not for an answer, but for one piece of advice. If I get another chance, what should I remember? Don't skip. The response was simple: don't try to recreate the past. Find out what is true now. Those words stayed with your soulmate because suddenly this was no longer about correcting an old moment. It was about discovering whether something genuine still existed in the present. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate walked away understanding that they could not control your answer, but they could control whether they finally showed up with honesty. And that is exactly what makes what happened next so unexpected. Later, when they were completely alone, they began forming the first words they would say to you if that opportunity arrived. They changed those words several times, but one opening kept returning to them again and again. And behind that opening was a question so personal, so revealing, that if they finally ask it, you will immediately understand exactly what that secret meeting awakened inside them. And then came the question your soulmate could not remove from their mind: if we could speak honestly for just one moment, would you tell me what you really felt back then? Don't skip, because this was no longer simple curiosity. Your soulmate was finally confronting the possibility that the story they believed about you might have been incomplete. Every detail from that secret meeting kept returning: the things someone close to you had noticed, the memories your soulmate had carried quietly, and especially those moments when both of you seemed to understand something without saying it aloud. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate began imagining your answer, but each possibility led them back to the same realization: they did not want to keep guessing anymore. They wanted the truth, whatever that truth might be. And strangely, reaching that point made them feel clearer than they had in a long time. The connection was no longer something they wanted to hide from themselves. It was something they finally wanted to understand. But one memory suddenly became stronger than all the others. Don't skip, because this was the memory your soulmate had almost avoided mentioning during that private conversation. It was a moment when you were about to leave, yet something made both of you pause. Nothing extraordinary happened on the outside, but your soulmate remembered the feeling with incredible clarity. There had been something unfinished in that silence, something neither person knew how to translate into words. Your soulmate confessed that afterward they had wondered whether you felt it too. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because the person close to you responded with one sentence that made them rethink everything: maybe that moment stayed with both of you for a reason. Your soulmate went completely quiet. They realized they had spent so much time questioning whether you remembered them that they had never asked themselves the more revealing question. Why were they still remembering you? And that answer was becoming impossible to ignore. Then came the decision that transformed this entire secret meeting from a conversation about the past into something connected to the future. Your soulmate decided that if life placed the two of you in the same emotional space again, they would not waste that moment pretending there was nothing to discuss. Don't skip, because they already know the first thing they want you to understand. You were never as forgettable to them as their silence may have made you believe. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. They want to explain why they pulled back when they could have moved closer, why certain words remain trapped behind hesitation, and why hearing someone close to you speak about your heart suddenly brought everything back with such clarity. But there is one revelation they still have not shared. The real reason your soulmate asked to meet this person close to you in the first place. It may not have been coincidence. It may not have been casual curiosity. There was one specific thing they were hoping to discover about you before deciding what they would do next, and when that reason finally comes out, the entire conversation will make sense. Now the real reason behind that meeting finally comes into focus. Your soulmate was not searching for gossip, and they were not trying to collect every detail about your life. There was one question sitting beneath everything else: had the connection meant enough to you that an honest conversation would still be worth having? Don't skip, because they were not looking for certainty. They were looking for one small indication that they had not imagined the emotional weight of those moments. And when someone close to you began describing the way you had acted during certain memories, your soulmate heard something they had secretly hoped to hear. You had noticed more than you showed. You had remembered more than they assumed. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate suddenly realized that silence can hide feelings on both sides, and that realization changed the entire purpose of the meeting. They stopped trying to discover exactly what you felt and started wondering whether they had enough courage to finally ask you themselves. That was the moment their curiosity became intention. Then the person close to you asked your soulmate a question they were completely unprepared for. If you learned that they once felt something meaningful too, what would you actually do about it? Don't skip. Your soulmate could have avoided the question, laughed it away, or given a vague answer. Instead, they became quiet. And after that silence, they admitted something incredibly revealing. They would want one genuine conversation with you where neither person had to pretend the past meant less than it did. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate then revealed that they were not searching for a perfect ending. They were searching for clarity. They wanted to hear your side of the story. They wanted to tell you their side. Most importantly, they wanted to discover what remained when all the assumptions were finally removed. Someone close to you immediately understood what had changed. Your soulmate had entered that meeting looking backward, but they were leaving it thinking forward. And just when it seemed everything important had already been said, one final detail surfaced. Don't skip, because this was the detail your soulmate had apparently kept hidden throughout almost the entire conversation. There was something they had saved from a memory connected to you, not necessarily an object, but a phrase, a tiny detail, a particular moment they could still recall almost perfectly. Whenever that memory returned, it brought back the same unanswered thought. What would have happened if I had been honest right there? Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate finally admitted that if another meaningful opportunity appears, they do not want to leave with that same question again. They want to know what is real now. And before the meeting ended completely, they asked the person close to you one last thing. If they knew everything I just told you, what do you think would surprise them the most? The answer made your soulmate smile instantly. Because apparently, there is one thing about their feelings that you may have understood completely differently, and when that misunderstanding is finally revealed, it could change the meaning of this entire story.